Is it me or did this Black History Month feel more draining than usual? From the whole BAFTA fiasco to black men still unfortunately being unjustly killed by the police, I think that we all just need a collective black sigh. This month was just extremely bleak. And I feel like every time there was like a little glimpse or a glimmer of happiness, it was overshadowed by something equally or even more disturbing or just kind of outlandish. And then to end the month and moving into March, which it is March 3rd at the time of recording this video, we are now in a world war issued illegally or initiated illegally by Donald Trump and the Israelis. So it's really hard to do anything other than sigh right now. There's a lot of emotions and frustrations throughout the world currently, not just the United States. And as a black person, especially this Black History Month, black people have already decided that we need an extension. I think they're calling it Melanated March, which I with is very millennial. It's a very millennial take, I'll say that. Before I get into anything else, hello, my name is Keishay, aka Shay, aka Shake and Bake, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will not be necessarily going back and rehashing everything that happened in February because it would honestly just be too much. I did just kind of want to touch on a couple of things. This is not like my normal style videos where it's like scripted pretty much and there isn't any fancy editing or anything. This will be more akin to the video that I made back in October when I spoke about the government shutdown and SNAP benefits being frozen and that nature. It will be more of a video in that vein than my regularly scheduled program, which we will be back to next week. But first things first, I want to start off with something good. The channel hit 100 subs. Woo woo. Let's make. Ooh, I hit my microphone. The channel. Okay. Let me start over. First order of business, we hit 100 subs, so let's give it up for that. Woo woo, yay! I know that in the grand scheme of the internet and social media, 100 subs does not seem like a lot, but in my little corner, it means the world. I started out with 0, and now I have 100. Just imagine 100 people in a room with you. That is an amazing feeling. I'm very proud of the work that I'm doing here. I started this channel because I wanted to create a lane for myself creatively, and I wanted to have a space where I could speak and have my voice heard. So I'm happy that there are people who are enjoying the content, whether they agree with the takes or the reviews or not. I'm happy that people are interacting. I love the conversations going on in the comments, and I hope some interesting ones can happen in this comment section of this video, always respectfully, of course. But yeah, like I said, thank you for 100 subs. It's only up from here. All right, enough with that mushy stuff. Let's get into the video. I think black fatigue was at an all-time high this Black History Month, if I can be honest. And to start, let's just start with the sinners of it all. Lord Jesus. This award season has been one of the most bizarre and weird award seasons there have been in a while. I know that people don't really watch award shows anymore. Maybe this is the way that they're trying to get people to watch by just being weird. But the way that Sinners is being treated is blatantly racist. And I feel like the whole BAFTAs incident was a capstone in that argument that a lot of us black people, black creatives have been trying to bring forth to the rest of the world, that a movie like Sinners shouldn't have all of this controversy around it, but it does simply because it is not your normal all white male cast of characters. It is a fact that Sinners was one of the, if not the biggest release to hit theaters last year, and honestly in the last decade, it was a huge film. And I'm sure we are all aware that the validity of the success of this film has been questioned for months now, and it's frankly very annoying, very blatantly racist. And I can already hear some of y'all being like, Sinners is literally nominated for all these awards and is literally the most decorated film ever. And I'm like, I understand that, but that was after headlines trying to downplay his box office success. That was after the leads being called the N-word at the BAFTAs. And that was also after other directors had to campaign for this film to be in consideration for the Oscars. One of those directors being Christopher Nolan himself, having to come out and put his white stamp of approval on this movie for people to give it some type of credit and not continuously find a way to downplay this movie. It is a great movie. It is a big movie. It is a big deal, especially in a time where studios are not investing in theatrical releases. You guys don't see that there is a concerted effort to downplay the success of the theatrical run of this film, as we have another thing that happened this month, Paramount acquiring WB and everything. Like, you don't see how this all correlates. Like, they're trying to downplay the success of this highly successful film that was successful not just on streaming, it was successful because it was an event in theaters that people could go and interact with. All the while, we have companies like Netflix who are actively trying to downplay theatrical releases so they can streamline everything into streaming. Like, turn this on. Turn this on. It is that deep. It is bigger than what people are making it. Sorry. I am getting off of track. This is what happens when I don't write a script. I start going off on tangents. But anyway, all of that to say, the biggest event that has showed that a lot of racism is happening, I guess it's a Freudian slip. But at the BAFTAs, while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage, a gentleman with Tourette's yelled out "F***er" while they were presenting. And the internet rushed to tell black people that they have no right to feel any type of way about this because he is a man with Tourette's. First of all, in any context where the N-word is used by a non-black person, black people have the right to be mad about that. It doesn't matter if it was voluntary or involuntary. The fact that a word like that can exist is enough to be irritated about, you know? And the fact that it's coming out of a person who is non-black's mouth is it's not okay. So I am not here to advocate for the ableism that has been happening. I've seen that as well. But what I am here to say is that you cannot tell black people how to feel about the N-word being used by a non-black person. And this was also very pointed because of the simple fact that this was a pre-recorded thing and they did not edit it out. But they edited out other phrases, other slurs. They edited out Free Palestine. They edited out homophobic slurs. So they could have taken that part out and they chose not to. Then just kind of told black people, well, you have no right to be mad about that. He has Tourette's. What can you do? That's fucked up. So I just think that every time that there is a black film or like a film that doesn't revolve around a bunch of white men being horrible people, the controversies that surround the film always take precedent over the accomplishment or the feat that was made by the creatives making these films. If you do not believe that that is true or that there is a pattern, you can just go back a couple years ago to when Moonlight won Best Picture at the Oscars. Somehow the envelopes at the Oscars got switched and La La Land was announced as Best Picture, and it was not supposed to be Best Picture. It was supposed to be Moonlight, and that was a whole fiasco. They do not remember that moment being the night that, you know, Moonlight won for Best Picture. They remember it being the night that Moonlight and La La got confused for who won Best Picture, which is just unfortunate. And we don't just see this in the film industry. We see this across mediums. Beyonce several times has been snubbed, and there's been so much controversy around her winning and losing to the point where it overshadows the accomplishments that she has made for herself as an artist. It happens in sports. It happens all the time. To marginalized groups, black people especially, when there is a feat that happens, it is often overshadowed by controversies of whatever. You know what I mean? It's not fair. This is especially irritating because all of the gaslighting that has been going on, everybody's telling black people like, y'all are doing too much. It's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. I'm tired of that term. It's not that deep. Everything is that deep. You just don't have the capacity. What New York say? You don't have the vernacular to even understand what's going on. So it's not that deep to you, but it is always that deep. And I am irritated because I feel like if this movie was directed by the aforementioned Christopher Nolan, there would not be any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody was so ready and willing to accept Oppenheimer as just this magnum opus of a film that needs to be praised on all levels. But here we are with something like Sinners that was different. It was new. It brought back the excitement of going to the theater. We have this movie here that was an event that people were excited about. People couldn't stop raving about. And all of a sudden, it doesn't deserve all the awards. And Marty Supreme should have won. And now we have like, whatever. Yeah, I do think that if Christopher Nolan made this movie, y'all would be, and I hate this fucking term because it's so weird and cringy, but y'all would be glazing the fuck out of this movie if it was Christopher Nolan. I'm just saying. But it's not. It's a black man who had creative control, who made something that was amazing, and struck a deal to get the rights back to his film in the next 25 years. So they didn't like that too much. The AI streaming services didn't like that too much. And now they trying to just downplay this black man and his success. All of these black creatives and their success. All of these non-white creators and their success. Like, it's lame as hell, but enough with that. I actually spent more time on that than I was supposed to. So we're going to move on to the next thing that I want to talk about. The next thing that I wanted to discuss was the killing of Daquan Johnson, who was a 32-year-old father of three who was murdered by the police in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This young man was chased by police on his bike, attacked by their canines, and shot multiple times. One in the back. I don't know how many times he got shot in the back of the head, but he did get shot in the back of the head, and he passed from his injuries in the hospital the next morning. I was unfortunate enough to see the body cam footage, and it is as graphic as I described. The series of events that happened is just extremely unfortunate. It calls attention to how chaotic police chases and stops are, and why they always end so bad for marginalized groups, especially Black people and disabled people. You're chasing a guy on a bike, and then you attack him with a dog, and then you start, once he's down on the ground, because he got off his bike and like tripped and fell and got attacked by the dog. And once he's on the ground, you guys are literally just shouting instructions at him. Somebody notices that he has a gun and then starts yelling gun, 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 and they start shooting. Where in that is the level of control of the situation? There was none. It was just a bunch of chaos. You have a dog, you have a man who's confused and in pain because he's getting attacked by a dog, and you have 3 to 4 police officers shouting instructions at him, and somebody notices that he has a gun and starts yelling about a gun. This was all extremely bad, and it's nobody's fault but the officers, because you are supposed to be in control of the situation, and they're clearly not. And this man's life is gone because of the fact that police are trigger happy and aggressive and don't know how to de-escalate a situation to save anybody's life. And it's always under the guise of, oh, I was just trying to make it home to my family. Everybody wants to make it home to their family. Why can't everybody make it home? Why do you get precedence over making it home than the person that you're stopping? You have all of the weapons, you have all of the control, you have all of the assets to make this situation go as smoothly as possible, and yet they do not take that route. They always take the most deadly route, and yet another man has lost his life at the hands of the police. 3 young girls lost their father, and his family lost a family member. I'm tired of seeing stories like this, because when people talk about defunding the police and people talk about, the police as an institution being flawed and being bad and being inherently racist, there's a lot of pushback on that. There shouldn't be any. The stuff that has been going on in the past has already should let you know this, but it's also just the stuff with ICE and how inclined they are to just take people's lives that they don't agree with or that they view as aggressors, or like, it does not make sense to me. What gives you the right as a police officer, just another human being? You just have a badge on you. What gives you the right to be judge, jury, and executioner? There was no due process. They already assumed that he was guilty. They treated him like he was guilty. They sick dogs on him, and he lost his life. He didn't get the opportunity to prove himself to be innocent. He didn't get the opportunity to speak to a lawyer. He didn't get the opportunity to be quiet, or he didn't get the opportunity to claim any of his rights before these officers took it upon themselves to take this man's life because they saw a gun. And then when they were asked about it, they said that he tried to pull a gun on them, but in the footage, he did not try to pull a gun on them. He did not. I saw it. And I didn't see it from their body cam. I saw it from an outside perspective, looking in, a third person recording this situation. Something needs to change. Something needs to happen. I don't know what. There are a lot of amazing creators who are abolitionists that talk about many different ways that situations like this can be de-escalated, or there needs to be a certain system in place to make these things happen. There are creators like Olayemi, who has a series of videos about why she is an abolitionist. She used to be a defense attorney, so she talks about that a lot. She's a lot more eloquent than I am, a lot more educated than I am to even have that conversation. So go check out Olay and her work, because she is amazing at that. My heart goes out to Daquan Johnson's family, and I hope that justice is brought to his murderers. That's what they are. They are murderers. If this was any other situation, any other person, you would be considered a murderer. You would be tried. You would be charged and tried for your crimes. But since it's the police, they get to kill with impunity, I guess. But again, I hope that his family is able to get justice for their slain family member. And I hope that something changes, because it has to. Like, this is bad. And it's extremely unfortunate. But I'll go into my next thing. Next, we have the political lesbian conversation. Okay. I purposefully avoided talking about this because I saw that a lot of what are we calling non-political lesbians talking about the harms, the harmful rhetoric this young lady was spilling. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I am talking about the viral Substack article "I Low-Key Chose to Be a Lesbian" by Mal. I'm gonna call her because I do not want to mispronounce her name. First of all, I just want to start by saying I am not here to tell people what they can and what they cannot be. That is not what I am here to do. But what I will say, like I said before, I read the article and I think that it is extremely harmful, the things that she was saying in it. I think that she over romanticizes being a lesbian and what that means. I think that she is a bisexual who has a lot of internalized biphobia and lesbophobia, if we're being real, who wants to be in community with lesbians in order to feel anti-patriarchy and not be a lesbian because she is simply just attracted to women. And the way that she wrote and the way that she spoke definitely gave her trying to overcompensate and prove how much more of a lesbian she is than people who identify as lesbians. And it's like, sister, if you're so in community with other queer people, why are you making it your mission to be in competition with other lesbians, telling lesbians, hey, instead of typing comments in my comment section, go text your crush, go talk to girls like I'm doing, go bitches like I'm doing. That's so weird. I just think that is so weird. I am open to all types of forms of love, and that's what it should be about. But it was very clear in her essay that it was not about love. It wasn't about what she's trying to make everybody who's calling her out seem. Like, it wasn't about being prejudiced, or it wasn't about trying to exclude her from a community of sapphics. You are bisexual, so that means that you are attracted to men and women. You're a political lesbian, which, in your words, you are a person who chooses not to date men in order to say fuck you to the patriarchy, not because you are attracted to women. So you're not a lesbian. Like, words have meanings. Okay, guys, I'm not here to be the label police because words have meanings. What she is a bisexual. She claims that she's trying to starve the patriarchy and all of this crap. She claims that she doesn't care about men anymore, but her entire paper is about her becoming a lesbian. Again, not because she's only attracted to women, but because men have caused so much harm in her life. And the catalyst for her to finally decide that she's going to be a lesbian was a pregnancy scare. So your decision to be a political lesbian is directly correlated to men. Very male-centered, bisexual thing. I'm trying not to be judgmental. I'm really trying to mince my words because I don't want people to feel like I'm discriminating and all of that. I'm clearly not. But what I am saying is that lesbians already are one of the most underrepresented in the community, oftentimes ignored from a lot of conversations, along with trans men. And it's very unfortunate to see a person like her spoon feeding this type of rhetoric to conservatives, telling the world that you can choose your sexuality, and her just basically trying to take and co-opt the term lesbian to fit what she wants it to be because she hates the fact that she's a bisexual who's still attracted to men. That has nothing to do with lesbians. It's not lesbians' job to fix you or to cater to you as a bisexual person. You know what I mean? Like, that's not our job. Our job as lesbians is to just be. Why do we have to provide other queer folk with this solace that we normally don't get? Because now a lot of lesbians are being attacked for simply pointing out how harmful this type of conversation is. And yeah, I just feel like her response video to the criticism was very condescending and it was stupid. It just felt like, again, you're overcompensating and you're trying to be in in competition with other queer folk about who's gayer, when that's not the point. I'm not a lesbian because I chose to be a lesbian, the same way that I'm not black because I chose to be black. I just am both of those things. I didn't have to make the active choice to do so. If I was making an active choice, it would be what you were doing. I would be making the active choice to go and date men knowing that I am a lesbian, which is, I'm not doing that. So she already said that she really doesn't even give a about what non-political lesbians think. I guess that's what we have to say. But she doesn't give a about what lesbians think. She's already said that she doesn't care, so whatever. But maybe if I come out as a politically straight lesbian who only dates men to, you know, what are right-wing people saying? Fight against the woke left and like, and the blue-haired leftists. We're only dating men and becoming traditional women to fight against the blue-haired left. Like, you see how that, like, you see how stupid that, I'm sorry, that's stupid. It's dumb. I think it's really dumb. And low key is giving Rachel Dolezal of the lesbian community. You are not about to Rachel Dolezal yourself into the lesbian community. If you're not familiar with Rachel Dolezal, it was a white lady who pretended to be black and put herself in community with black people, took major roles in black organizations, and yeah, basically hid the fact that she was a Caucasian woman by assimilating to black American culture and again taking roles in diversity groups that should be specifically for black American women as a white woman. That is simply what this girl is doing, but as a bisexual in the lesbian community. And I'm open to all types of love. I'm open to all types of relationships. She made a decision. She is not just solely in love with women and she just also loves women like she claims. I just think that was extremely unfortunate for that to even be a conversation that was happening and for lesbians to feel like they have to shut the up in order to basically making lesbians feel like they have to shut the up and just take your version of love, or we're not being progressive enough or we're not being accepting enough. Girl, bye. I said a lot. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That is all I have for this video. Okay, so that was actually not the last thing that I wanted to talk about. I forgot to mention the whole Katseye Manon situation that happened towards the end of the month. It was just so much going on that I wanted to touch on specific things and I literally forgot to talk about that. So if you guys are not aware, a member of the girl group Katseye, Manon Bannerman, I think that's her name, Manon Bannerman, announced that she would be taking a this actually is more messy than her just announcing that she's going on hiatus. So basically what happened was some internal documents from label that they're signed to, Hybe X Geffen, some documents leaked saying that they were possibly thinking about terminating Manon and that she will be going on hiatus for her own mental health. That was then disputed by Manon, saying that she is perfectly fine. You know, she basically made it seem as though some things, you know, are just out of her control at the moment, but she is healthy, letting her fans know that she is okay. Now, the issue with this is not the fact that in K-pop world, because they are a pseudo K-pop group, a K-pop-esque group, the issue is not the fact that she's going on hiatus. It is the circumstances surrounding that, mainly that she is the only black member in the group. And also there has already been this image of her that she is just lazy and she doesn't work as hard as the other girls. This kind of narrative was put on her well before the group was even fully formed. And as we all know, that calling the only black girl in a group lazy is extremely racialized for a couple of reasons. And it's not the first time that we've seen a group have one black person in it, especially in girl groups, and that girl get a lot of hate and disdain from other people. So this situation really just brought forth the conversation about how black members are treated in these types of groups where they're the only black person there. And what didn't make it any better was one of the girls in the group's father, mind you, the dad of one of the girls started to go on social media, responding to people's comments, basically saying the girls will be fine if it's only 5 of them and Manon can come back when she's ready to work. I had a number of thoughts about this. This is coming from somebody whose favorite girl group is Destiny's Child. One of my favorite albums ever created is Destiny Fulfilled by Destiny's Child. And this is a person who was an avid harmonizer when Fifth Harmony came out. And I literally was the biggest Normani stan. I had a phone case with Normani on it. If I can find a picture, I will insert it. But I had a phone case with Normani on it because I loved her so much. And growing up in the Harmonizer fandom, you would see just these irritatingly like visceral reactions to her, you know, kind of saying that she does too much and she over dances and she can't sing and all this extra stuff, when it was very clear that Normani was a star and she still is a star. And yeah, and it just brought forth a conversation about how these young girls are treated. You know what I mean? Even though I know Manon is like the youngest in not the youngest. Yeah, I think she's like my age. So yeah, she's 24 but it's different because she is not American. She's like Swiss or something. And she's gone on record to say that Swiss people have a different type of work or an idea of like working. If you're sick, you take off work. That they don't want you to come in sick anyway. Us Westerners have a very different idea of work and work ethic. We are quick to call something or someone lazy because we work in this like super hyper capitalist society where if you're you're not working, or if you're perceived to be not working as hard as the next person, then you are deemed lazy and you don't have work ethic and you don't want to work, when that's just simply not the truth. She's also gone on record to say that she feels as though she needs to work twice as hard as the other girls because this stigma has been put on her, which is just blatantly unfair. She works the same schedule that the rest of these girls work. They do the same type of hours, but it also shouldn't be to a point where $1 billion company are basically just exploiting these 6 girls and milking them for all that they can get from these girls. And then any of the girls have the gall to say, I'm not doing that. And all of a sudden she's ungrateful and she doesn't want to work and she's being lazy, you know, and she's black, and black people already have a very damaging, harmful stigma against us as being these lazy people that just don't want to work and we want to live off the government and this and this and that. It's just extremely unfortunate. I hope that Manon knows that she has support, and there have been a number of people who have come out in support of her, especially the fandom is called Icons. So it's been a bunch of icons coming out being like, no, we with the group because we with Manon. So if Manon is gone, sorry, you know, I'm gonna be gone. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I am not an icon, but I did the group. I didn't with the group for the entire group though. And this is not me being shady or being mean, but I don't think that I'm their demographic anyway. But as somebody who's not their demographic and who just casually like listens to their music and thinks all of the girls are beautiful and talented, the main reason that the group caught my eye was because of Mano and Lara. Specifically because you don't see girls those skin complexions in these types of groups. Again, this is a pseudo K-pop group, so you normally see lighter skinned Korean women in these groups. You don't really see a girl that looks like Lara Raj or Mano. So it did pique my interest, and I do feel like that's the story for a lot of people. I feel like they are a bit more accessible than other K-pop groups. Also, K-pop is very much known to be extremely anti-black. I've seen a lot of videos of K-pop idols basically ignoring black fans. And a lot of K-pop fans and like creators that I enjoy talk about their experiences in K-pop fandom and how anti-black and racist it actually is. So, you know, I hope that the situation is rectified in a better way. I hope that it's handled in a more respectful way. But yeah, I forgot to talk about that. But I do hope that Mano, you know, figures it out, finds her way, and knows that she has support and people that her. I her, and if she start making music, that's good. I might music. If she start acting, I might whatever project she in. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that it gets rectified and everything gets settled. But yeah, that's it. That's it. Now I can go to the outro. I simply just hope that March is better. Okay. I hope that March and the rest of the year is better. I hope that this war ends soon. I hope that Michael B. Jordan wins Best Actor at the Oscars, and I hope that Sinners wins Best Picture because it deserves it. I hope that Daquan's family gets some type of justice for their slain family member. And, you know, if I missed anything else in there, please let me know. If there was something that happened this Black History Month that you wasn't rocking with either, put it down in the comment section below. Again, thanks for all the support and the love on the videos. Thanks for 100 subs. I really, really appreciate it. And I can't wait for more to come with this channel. If you are one of my family members or friends watching this video, I love you and thanks for watching my videos. Goodbye.